No, your eyes aren't deceiving you. This is actually just a strictly Hollywood video. We're not talking about Orlando. We're not going to make Hollywood an afterthought. We're just going to let Hollywood take center stage this video. We haven't done that since last year. And my apologies for, after the announcement season, abandoning Hollywood. Didn't get a chance to watch their mazes last year. I did, but I didn't get a chance to actually comment on them. This year, I think I'll do something different. I don't know if there's going to be a full reveal Popcast. Probably not, but we'll see how things go. So the reason why I want to do this video is because there's a couple things that actually came out recently. Now, I know I'm behind on a couple of things, but I still want to do this video and talk a little bit about them. There were 3 big announcements that hit. And they came pretty much out of nowhere. We were thinking they were going to come at a certain place, and there was some information at that certain place, but it was not to be. We got it early. So we had a big reveal that started like this. Of course, the usual Bill Shakespeare quote welcomed us with, "By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes." And then, bam, it was there, black and white. The 4 most terrifying names in horror are coming to hashtag Universal HHN. Freddy and Jason, who everyone knew was going to happen anyway. Michael Myers, who was already announced. And yes, Leatherface. So everyone who was upset the last year we got Freddy versus Jason and Murdy's like, we can get it another year. It's not a big deal. Turns out it's the next year. And everybody was upset when we got our first announcement being the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, coming to our event this year. Everybody's like, where's Leatherface? Is he going to show up too? And I just had to wait a little bit, and it's completely different from what we're doing. And Michael Myers is coming back. So yes, Murdy could never turn down the big 4 of horror coming back with The Exorcist, and with something new school like Krampus, and something that people have been wanting to come to the event for years now. It made perfect sense, at least in my mind. That's the reason why I kept saying it. And it made sense that when we found out Freddy vs. Jason was probably going to happen, even though it wasn't officially announced yet, I was wondering where Leatherface and Michael Myers were. Well, obviously, we had to wait a little bit for Leatherface, but we got Michael Myers pretty quickly after that. So we knew 3. There was no way there wasn't going to be the 4th. And there was a big rumor going around that Leatherface was going to be involved in another way this year, and that did not end up panning out. So they ended up also saying another rumor that there was another property that everyone thinks that Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blood Brothers took over for. I'm actually not believing at this point it was ever on the table in the first place. I don't think it was replaced. I think there was no way that Murdy could turn down the big 4 of horror and this house that everybody wanted on both coasts. Just might have to wait to another year. Which is a shame, because I really wanted to see that house. A lot more than I want to see something that we have in Orlando right now, and something we're going to be talking about on this video. Not necessarily the one that I'm talking about on this video. It's something that, obviously, everyone knows what I'm talking about, so there. So, let's read the copy, shall we? So, Murdy had Freddy, Jason, Leatherface, and Michael Myers at the event, along with The Exorcist. He couldn't turn it down. And there were a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation that last year was going to be John Murdy's last year. Well, my guess is if it were the prospect of being able to finally get The Exorcist after 11 years of waiting for it, plus being able to bring all the fan favorites to the event in the same year, which, for all intents and purposes, is basically an anniversary year, it makes perfect sense. And it made perfect sense from the get-go. So, if Murdy had an idea to leave, I think he'd stick around for another year, and perhaps maybe next year we will get our official announcement of John Murdy stepping down as creative director of Hollywood and letting the new person take over, whomever that may be. Now, that also is speculation, given the fact that John Murdy can step down anytime he wants. He doesn't have any real timetable. I mean, he's pretty much past his timetable he had originally set for himself. So, now it's just bonus years, and we'll see how long he goes. But that's another story for a different time. Take a drink. So, then it broke down like this. The town of Springwood has seen its fair share of tragedy. Back in the 1960s, Springwood was terrorized by serial killer Frederick Charles Krueger, aka the Springwood Slasher. Now, Krueger murdered that's not even a word. Krueger murdered 20 children before the enraged citizens burned him alive in the very place where his evil acts were committed. Yes, Freddy Krueger literally died in a fire. 2 decades later, Freddy returned to Springwood to prey on the children of his executioners by murdering them in their dreams. Now, eventually, the people of Springwood, they were able to defeat Freddy and banish him straight to hell, but evil only sleeps for so long. Now Freddy's back from hell, and he's here to take his revenge on the people of Springwood. But this time, he's brought someone back with him. Jason Voorhees, the notorious hockey-masked killer, invades Freddy's hometown, and the body count quickly begins to rise. As Freddy soon learns, there's only so much carnage to go around. And if he wants to continue his bloody reign over Springwood, he's gonna need to send Jason straight back to hell. Welcome to Freddy vs. Jason, an all-new maze bringing together 2 of the biggest icons in horror history. Now we're going to be thrust in the middle of an epic battle between horror's greatest slashers. A battle through the twisted landscape of nightmares, raging and culminating in a final showdown amongst the burned-out ruins of an abandoned boiler factory where Freddy's evil legacy began. In this fight to the death, someone must win, someone has to lose. Will you make it to the end to find out? So that was the information that we actually got. And the information basically led us to know a couple pertinent bits of information. Well, first off, it's all new maze. It's based on Freddy vs. Jason, but it's not the movie. Just like Orlando, it's not focusing on the movie itself. I guess they just really don't want to do anything with that movie, so I'm never going to get to see my rave scene that I really wanted to see out in the cornfield. But I guess that happens. It's going to be built on the back lot. Don't know exactly the location at this point. My guess is probably going to be in front of Soundstage 747, which a lot of people thought this was going to be the location too this year, but we know it's on the back lot, so we know that. Obviously, my location is kind of hazy when it comes to Hollywood because I'm an Orlando guy and I'm just now the last couple years focused on Hollywood's event. I'm not really focusing on Hollywood's event, I'm talking about Hollywood's event. I focus on Orlando's event, I'm talking about Hollywood. But I'm still trying to give Hollywood its just due because there's some really awesome things that Murdy's doing this year, and has done in the previous years. So, we're going to go from the haunted shores of Camp Crystal Lake to the house at 1428 Elm Street. Now, these properties were visited in 2007, 2008, and 2010. There's 3 different versions of Nightmare and Friday the 13th during Murdy's time in Horror Nights. But some of those kills from Freddy vs. Jason were actually in there, so they're doing something completely different, original, and brand new. This is an original take on Freddy vs. Jason, all the iconic elements of the properties, but the maze is not literally the film, just like I mentioned earlier. So, the code name was Doris Day, and a lot of people were connecting Doris Day to other things, and as time went on, it made sense it was Freddy vs. Jason. Why? Because of these couple bits of tidbits. Bits of tidbits is probably not a good way to say, but I'm going to use it anyway, because I've already said it, and I'm not going to add it anymore. So, aside from listening to old 50s and 60s pop songs, he wrote a monologue for the main character, and he also talked on Twitter about his voice kind of being hoarse from doing a monologue, so my guess, honestly, is that you're going to hear John Murdy's voice as Freddy Krueger. I can't know that for sure, that's just what I'm guessing at this point. And it's basically a 90-page treatment, and the code name has something to do with an album, movie, or song title by Doris Day, hence the code name Doris Day. Now, this song was Dream a Little Dream, and it makes perfect sense. It said also was the most original maze of the bunch, and the long intro in the queue that we're talking about. Obviously, I'm going to guess it's Murdy's narration as Freddy. Setting up the story, before you go inside, there's been some original filming and a revolving set piece that is going to alter the scene. Basically, the same way we did it last year, but a little bit better, actually. They're going to be showing both Freddy or Jason winning at different points of the evening, and there's going to be an actual set piece, not just Freddy or Jason coming out from a black curtain at the very end of the maze. It's actually going to be an actual rotating set piece, and you're going to either, at one point of the night, you'll see a cast of Freddy winning or a cast of Jason winning. So if you go through the maze at the right time, you may see both of these options if you get to hit it twice in the night, or you may end up seeing only one. Just kind of depends on if you know the actual time. I'm going to guess every like 45 minutes or so, which makes perfect sense. This house looks good. Looks really good. The boiler room looks like a good facade. I think it looks great. It's like an abandoned boiler room factory. I think that's going to be an awesome thing that they're doing. The one thing that I gave issue to, and a lot of the people on the Elite gave issue to, were the fact that they use screens in Orlando. Hopefully Murdy does not use screens. I don't think he will. And I think given the fact that it is Hollywood, we will see those stuntmen I talked about in Orlando before we actually got our house. And they're probably going to actually see Freddy and Jason battling. So you're going to see 3 parts of the maze. You're going to see Freddy's part, Jason's part, and also the battle between the two. And I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to it, actually seeing the videos. But he wasn't done. Oh no, we got more information. It's been 5 years since a group of unlucky teenagers had a fatal encounter with a chainsaw-wielding psychopath named Leatherface. This attack by Leatherface and his cannibal clan occurred at an isolated farmhouse in southern Texas. Despite the best efforts of law enforcement, that farmhouse was never found. The murder weapon was never recovered. And now the demented killers, they were never brought to justice. Emboldened by their ability to literally get away with murder, the Sawyer family has decided the time is right to expand their family business. Chop Top, Leatherface's mentally unhinged brother, is returned from Vietnam. The Sawyers are taking slaughter to an all-new level. Welcome to Texas Chainsaw Massacre Blood Brothers, an all-new maze that is going to be built in the Waterworld queue. Now, a lot of rumors were that Waterworld was going to be used as a location. We actually start seeing pictures, and it was a big, giant facade. And it sounds like it's going to be a big, giant facade. Very reminiscent of what we've seen in the past, but not exactly what we've seen in the past, because this is not the Leatherface and not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre we've seen previously. Now, here's the deal. Everything has been done over Murdy's time. Like, pretty much every property has been taken on at one point or another. Some more than once. Some properties are special. Like, year after year, fans asked to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the other slashers, so Murdy came up with a new idea. Murdy and Chris Williams got together with the extra members of the creative department, and they came up with creating their own sequels to beloved horror movies. Very unique, very interesting. Texas is the gap between the original movie and the second movie. That's the reason why Chop Top's involved. And you're going to find out what happened during that time. It's 5 years after the events of the original movie. And we found out on July 30th at Midsummer Scream a little bit more about the information. The gas station is your facade. And it is going to be Chop Top's homecoming all the way to the graveyard, even to a tunnel to the house itself, and then finally into Chop Top's room and then some. It's going to be very trippy is what we're hearing. We're going to go into Leatherface's room. It's going to be emblazoned with 1950s little boys' bedroom, like cowboys and Indians we're talking. He's got a doll collection, and they got little masks of meat on them. And the finale is going to be very shocking, if you will, because the things we've seen in the movies, both the original and the remakes, is that flash bulb going on, and hearing that sound, and the just eerie sound that you hear, and of course, the narration you hear after it, but those flash bulbs basically just showing you a little bit, kind of like Dead Exposure in Orlando. It makes sense that that's going to be the finale in Hollywood. This sounds really, really intense, to say the least. And I don't know about the queue for Waterworld, but it's very interesting. This is the first time it's been used as a location for a maze, and I'm very curious to see exactly how this goes. Should be interesting. Definitely not the same thing we're doing in Orlando. When it comes down to it, obviously we did Freddy vs. Jason last year, but this one's a different version. And we're doing Leatherface this year in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one is the point between the first and the second movie, so we're going to find out what happened in between. Should be a really interesting, very intense maze, to say the least. A lot of the Texas mazes that have happened in Hollywood have been some of the greatest when it comes to scares and it comes to scenic, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this video. Even though everyone knows I'm not a big Leatherface guy, obviously it's my least anticipated maze in Orlando, basically because everything is so more anticipated for me because, like I said, number one, I'm not a big Leatherface guy. Number two, I think the scenics would be brilliant. I think the scares are going to be awesome, and I'll defend myself in the podcast as well when I give my list. But still, I will state that even with Walking Dead, which I think may end up being on last year, we'll see if that ends up happening. I'm even somewhat excited for Walking Dead because you never know what they may pull out of their sleeve this year. It's an amalgamation of everything we've seen in the last several years, plus a lot of new stuff as well. So I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with that. That's the reason why Texas is so low. I do not dislike any maze this year. If it were up to me, obviously, I personally would have replaced Texas with something else. I would have used something a lot different, but it's just me. And I think it makes perfect sense that it would happen this year. And given the fact that we had the last member of the New Line 3 coming to Orlando's event this year after we had Freddy and Jason last year and they're in Maze, makes sense that we do it somewhat again this year. So, and add Michael Myers onto that makes it even better. So, Murdy went on record saying this is the best lineup they've done in 11 years. And he's sticking to that. And it makes sense. This is like a greatest hits year. It really is. It's kind of like what we did with 25 last year. I mean, it was our like greatest hits year. We had 9 mazes for the first time. And everything was good, great, grand, and wonderful. We had an icon back again. I mean, the event itself was phenomenal. I think this year is going to be like Hollywood's version of that. Without the icon, obviously. Because there's no icons. Because the IPs themselves are the icons. That's what I'm guessing the buzzword I'm going to use here. So last but not least, Murdy goes on record. I mentioned a little bit in the Krampus video that at Scare LA he had one last announcement for everyone, and he announced that we are getting a park-wide Purge scare zone. So the whole park is the Purge. We did this in 2013 with The Walking Dead too, not so great reviews, but I really think the Purge actually allows to be a better property for a park-wide scare zone. That's the reason I wanted it. That guillotine scene that we get in election year, I think that'd be a good, like, small show. I think that would be great. I think that we're going to get, like, an auction, potentially. We're going to see Purgers everywhere. They're going to have every weapon under the sun. Should be really awesome. And if everything didn't happen in real life with what happened with Pulse in Orlando, I really think we'd probably get something like this year. And maybe some year we'll get it down the line. But Hollywood's event sounds awesome. It really does. So there's a couple bits of information. It's going to be a Scare Zone Gauntlet. That's the wording that's being used. I love the wording. The wording is phenomenal. You're going to go for Universal Plaza, Parisian Courtyard, and French Street. It's a really long scare zone. It's one way in, one way out. You enter at Universal Plaza and you exit at the end of French Street. So it's kind of like the trick-or-treat trail at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, but you want nothing to do with the treats there at the end because they're nothing but tricks to you. So yeah, that made no sense, but it sounded good in my head, so we went with that. There's going to be more scenic and more set pieces than before. There's going to be a huge cast of characters. There's a lot of places to hide. It's going to be very intense. It's going to basically set the tone from the entrance through New York Street, and there's characters from all 3 films, and including new characters we've never seen before. So not only are you going to see like the president's masks, and you're going to get to see the VW Bug that's got all the Christmas lights in it with the girl with the Kiss Me. You're going to see a lot of really great things here. I think it's going to be really awesome. A lot of characters from the previous 2 films, as well as Purge election year as well. So looks really great. Now, another thing is, there's not going to be anything because of the Walking Dead attraction, so it's not going to be around that, but it's going to be everywhere pretty much but that, and it's not going to be on the Terror Tram. That's a completely new theme that hopefully we'll talk about very soon. So it's going to continue to the Metro sets, and on the back lot, the Purge is everywhere, all over the park and all over the back lot. This is something brand new for Hollywood. Obviously, Murdy wanted to try something new. He says the timing is absolutely perfect. And everybody is requesting all of the stuff this year. So they're getting everything they want this year. And who knows what they're going to get with the actual Terror Tram and with the actual shows themselves. I guess we'll find out sooner rather than later. So, one maze still left to come, and he says you're guaranteed to freak out over it. Yeah, it's a bi-coastal announcement, and it'll be announced very soon. At least that's what we're hearing. You never know. So, very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. The Purge Scare Zone sounds phenomenal. I like the idea, as I move up in my chair, because I'm losing feeling. Basically, I think the idea for a park-wide purge is an awesome idea. It's the reason I came up with it in 2013. I think we're going to get an idea of what that would actually be like. We did somewhat with the Terror Tram last year, and I think this is going to be that to like the nth degree. And I think it's going to be really entertaining to see how this works. That's like a scare zone gauntlet. I think that's very interesting wording and very interesting way to put it. It doesn't really sound like it's PR. It sounds like it's actually something that they're going to make work. And I think it's going to look really good, and I think that it's something I would like to see. So for these 3 announcements, Freddy vs. Jason, I'm curious to see what they do differently. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Blood Brothers, I'm not a Leatherface fan, but I think the scenic would be interesting, and I'm really curious to see exactly what they do in that maze. And I really want to see the Purge as a park-wide scare zone. So, I mean, that's my video for today. Will we talk more about Hollywood? Yeah, we probably will be very soon when we get the official announcement of the Terror Tram and the shows. Or show, depending on who you're asking. I guess you never know. I guess we'll have to find out sooner rather than later. And probably my anticipated list for the mazes and the scare zone locations, I guess. No. Mazes and shows. Yeah, there we go. Mazes and shows. No scare zones. I have great thoughts for what they're going to do with the Purge in Hollywood. So we'll see what happens with that. And that's your video for today. So that is short, straight to the point. Well, not really. It's like 20 minutes. But still. If you want the news directly from the mouth of John Murdy and the creative team in Hollywood, check out @HorrorNights on Twitter. And you can also check out Horror Nights on Snapchat as well. There's some great Halloween Horror Nights related content on both YouTube as well as various websites. Link in the description bar below. Great forums from Horror Night Nightmares and USH Forums. And obviously the links of all the members of the Popcast Network Elite will be in the description bar to all their channels and their YouTube presence, as well as their Twitters. So yeah, all that information is below you, so check that out. So, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about the Popcast Network, and if you haven't yet, go to Facebook. Just takes a second, click like on our Facebook fan page. If you like what we do here on the network, then do so, and if you want to follow along with our Halloween Horror Nights Popcasts, we're available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play, and also link in the description bar for all the other ways you can get a hold of us and all the other great podcasts you can listen to that are Horror Nights related. You can follow me on Twitter at @SirOwenDisney, follow the network on Twitter at @Popcast Network, and also we have a Zazzle store for merch. If you want to show your support that way, you're more than welcome to. We have shirts, buttons, bags, what have you. It's located Zazzle.com/Popcast Network. So, in the meantime, it is now technically Thursday. So, I had the Krampus video that just came up. I would be doing an originals video very soon for Orlando. And this weekend, Saturday night, 9 p.m., if you're so inclined, the 7th Halloween Horror Nights 26th Popcast, talking all about the originals, and we're going to have some special guests. The Elite of the Popcast Network, check that out if you're able to. We have a live chat, really lively live chat, no pun intended, very enjoyable time, so if you want to check it out, you're more than welcome to. Once again, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.